youth. I will acknowledge that work has aspects of contribution to others, but the logic that says that officially one is contributing to others when in actuality one is doing it for oneself is nothing other than hypocrisy. How do you explain that?
Imagine the following kind of scene. It's after dinner at home, and there are still dishes left on the table. The children have gone off to their rooms, and the husband is sitting on the sofa watching television. It's been left to the wife, me, to do the dishes and clear everything up. To make matters worse, the family takes that for granted and they don't make the slightest effort to help. In such a situation, normally one would think, why won't they give me a hand, or why do I have to do all the work? Even if, even if I do not hear the words thank you from my family while I'm cleaning up, I want them to think that I am of use to the family. Instead of thinking about what others can do for me, I want to think about and put into practice what I can do for others. Just by having that feeling of contribution, the reality right in front of me will take on a completely different hue. In fact, if I am grumbling to myself as I wash the dishes, I am probably not much fun to be around. So everyone just wants to keep their distance. On the other hand, if I am humming away to myself and washing the dishes in good spirits, the children might come and give me a hand. At the very least, I would be creating an atmosphere in which it is easier for them to offer their help.
Well, that might be the case. Well, that might be the case in that setting anyway.
Now, how come I have a feeling of contribution in that setting? I have it because I am able to think of the members of my family as comrades. If I cannot do that, inevitably there will be thoughts running through my head like, why am I the only one doing this and why won't anyone give me a hand? Contribution that is carried out while one is seeing other people as enemies may indeed lead to hypocrisy. But if other people are one's comrades, that should never happen, regardless of the contributions one make. You have been fixating on the word hypocrisy because you do not understand community feeling yet.
Okay,
For the sake of convenience, up to this point, I have discussed self acceptance, confidence in others, and contribution to others in that order. However, these three are linked as an indispensable whole in a sort of circular structure. It is because one accepts oneself just as one is. One self accepts that one can have confidence in others without the fear of being taken advantage of. And it is because one can place unconditional confidence in others and feel that people are one's comrades, that one can engage in contribution to others. Further, it is because one contributes to others that one can have the deep awareness that I am of use to someone and accept oneself just as one is. One can self accept. The notes you took down the other day, do you have them with you?
oh, you mean that note on the objectives put forward by Adlerian psychology? I have kept it on me ever since that day, of course. Here it is, the two objectives for behavior, to be self-reliant and to live in harmony with society. The two objectives for the psychology that supports these behaviors, the consciousness that I have the ability and the consciousness that people are my comrades.
If you overlap the content of this note with what we have just been discussing, you should be able to gain a deeper understanding. In the other words, to be self reliant and the consciousness that I have the ability corresponds to our discussion of self acceptance. And then to live in harmony with society and the consciousness that people are my comrades connect to confidence in others and then in contribution to others.
I see. So the objective of life is community feeling. I think it will be some time before I can get this clear in my head though.
Yes, it probably will. As Adler himself said, understanding a human being is no easy matter. Of all the forms of psychology, individual psychology is probably the most difficult to learn and put into practice.
That's exactly right. Even if the theories are convincing, it is hard to put them into practice.
It is even said that to truly understand Adlerian psychology and apply it to actually changing one's way of living, one needs half the number of years one has lived. In other words, if you were to start studying it at the age of 40, it would take another 20 years until you turn 60. If you were to start studying at the age of 20, it would take 10 years until you turn 30. You are still young. Starting at such an early stage of life means that you might be able to change more quickly. In the sense that you can change quickly, you are walking ahead of the adults of the world. To go about changing yourself and making a new word, in a way, you are ahead of me too. It is okay to lose your way or lose focus. Do not be dependent on vertical relationships or be afraid of being disliked and just make your way forward freely. If all the adults could see that young people are walking ahead of them, I am sure the world would change dramatically.
I am walking ahead of you.
You certainly are. We walk on the same ground and you are moving on ahead of me.
Ahaha, you are the first person I have ever met who would say such a thing to someone young enough to be his son.
I would like more and more young people to learn about Adler's thought. And I would like more adults to learn about it too, because people can change regardless of their ages.
Workaholism is a life lie. All right, I readily admit that I don't have the courage to take steps towards self acceptance or confidence in others. But is this really the fault only of the I? Isn't it also actually a problem brought about the other people who accuse me unreasonably and attack me?
To be sure, not everyone in the world is a good and virtuous person. One goes through any number of unpleasant experiences in one's interpersonal relations. But there is something one must not get wrong at this juncture. The fact that in every instance it is that person who attacks you who has the problem, and it is certainly not the case that everyone is bad. People with neurotic lifestyle tends to sprinkle their speech with such words as everyone and always and everything. Everyone hates me, they will say, or it's always me who takes a loss, or everything is wrong. If you think you might be in the habit of using such generalizing statements, you should be careful.
Well, that does sound rather familiar.
In Adlerian psychology, we think of this as a way of living that is lacking in harmony of life. It is a way of living in which one sees only a part of things but judges the whole.
Harmony of life?
In the teachings of Judaism, one finds the following anecdote. If there are 10 people, one will be someone who criticizes you no matter what you do. This person will come to dislike you and you will not learn to like him either. Then there will be two others who accept everything about you and whom you accept too, and you will become close friends with them. The remaining seven people will be neither of these types. Now, do you focus on the one person who dislikes you? Do you pay more attention to the two who love you? Or would you focus on the crowd, the other seven? A person who is lacking in harmony of life will see only one person he dislikes and will make a judgment of the word from that.
Intriguing.
Some time ago, I participated in a workshop for people who stammer and their families. Do you know anyone who has a stammer?
Yes, there was a student at the school I went to who stuttered. That must be hard to deal with, both for the person who has it and for his family too.
Why is stammering hard to deal with? The view in Adlerian psychology is that people who suffer from stammering are concerned only about their own way of speaking, and they have feelings of inferiority and see their lives as unbearably hard. And they become too self conscious as a result and start tripping over their words more and more.
They are concerned only about their own way of speaking.
That's right. There are not many people who will laugh at or make fun of someone when he trips over his words now and then. To use the example I just mentioned, it would probably be no more than one person in 10 at most. In any case, with the sort of foolish people who would take such an attitude, it is best to simply sever the relationship. But if one is lacking in harmony of life, one will focus only on that person and end up thinking, everyone is laughing at me.
That's just human nature.
I have a reading group that meets on a regular basis, and one of the participants has a stammer. It comes out sometimes when it's his turn to read, but not a single person there is a sort who would laugh at him for that. Everyone just sits quietly and waits in a quite natural way for the next words to come out. I am sure this is not a phenomenon that is isolated to my reading group. When one's interpersonal relations do not go well, it cannot be blamed on a stammer or a fear of blushing or anything of the sort. Even though the problem is really that one has not attained self acceptance or confidence in others or contributions to others. For that matter, one is focusing on only one tiny part of things that simply should not matter, and from that trying to form judgments with regard to the entire world. This is a misguided lifestyle that is lacking in harmony of life.
Did you actually convey such a harsh idea to people who suffer from stammering?
Of course, at first, there were some adverse reactions, but by the end of the 3 day workshop, everyone was in deep agreement with it.
It certainly is a fascinating argument, but focusing on people who suffer from stammering seems like a rather special example. Could you give me any others?
Well, another would be the workaholic. This too is an example of a person who is clearly lacking in harmony of life.
A workaholic? Why is that?
People who suffer from stammering are looking at only a part of things but judging the whole. With workaholics, the focus is solely on one specific aspect of life. They probably try to justify that by saying, it's busy at work, so I don't have enough time to think about my family. But this is a life lie. They are simply trying to avoid their other responsibilities by using work as an excuse. One ought to concern oneself by everything from household chores and child rearing to one's friendships and hobbies and so on. Adler does not recognize ways of living in which certain aspects are unusually dominant.
That's exactly the sort of person my father was. It was just be a workaholic, bury yourself in your work and produce results, and then rule over the family on the grounds that you are the breadwinner. He was a very feudalistic person.
In a sense, that is a way of living of refusing to acknowledge one's life task. Work does not mean having a job at a company. Work in the home, child rearing, contributing to the local society, hobbies, and all manner of other things are work. Companies and such are just one small part of that. A way of living that acknowledges only company work is one that is lacking in harmony of life.
It is exactly as you say, and it is not as if the family he is supporting has any say in the matter either. You can't argue with your father when he growls with a violent tone of voice. It is thanks to me that there is food on the table.
Such a father has probably been able to recognize his own worth only on the level of acts. He works all those hours, brings in enough money to support a family, and is recognized by society. And on that basis, He views himself as having greater worth than the other members of his family. For each and every one of us, however, there comes a time when one can no longer serve as a provider. When one gets older and reaches retirement age, for example, one may have no choice but to live off one's pension or support from one's children. Even when one is young, injury or poor health can lead to being unable to work any longer. On such occasions, those who can attempt themselves only on the level of acts are severely damaged.
You mean
Sorry.
those you mean those people whose lifestyle is all about work?
Yes, people who lives lack harmony. People whose
Whose
lives
lives?
lack harmony.
In that case, I think I am starting to get what you mean by the level of being, which you brought up last time. And I certainly, the page is gone.
Oh shit,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry. Uh, Arey Bapre, I don't know what. Is it right?
Yes, Mansi.
Yeah. I thought I stole many pages. Okay, gone now.
Yeah. In that case, I think I am starting to get what you mean by the level of being, which you brought up last time. And I certainly have not given much thought to the fact that someday I won't be able to work any longer or do anything on the level of acts.
Does one accept oneself on the level of acts or on the level of being? This is truly a question that relates to the courage to be happy. Manishi, you want to take over from here?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
if
you.
anyone else wants.
Biren ji is there. Biren. Or you can continue, Suman.
Okay.
And you can continue. I think maybe if you want to shift roles, that you can do maybe.
The courage to be happy. Well, let's hear what kind of courage that should be.
Yes, that is an important point.
You say that all problems are interpersonal relationship problems, and then you turn that around and say that our happiness is to be found in our interpersonal relations too. But I still find these aspects hard to accept. Is what human beings call happiness merely something within our good interpersonal relations? That is to say, do our lives exist for such minuscule repose and joy?
I have a good idea of the issues you are grappling with. The first time I attended a lecture on uh, Adrian psychology, the lecturer Oscar, one second, Christensen, who was I, who was a disciple of one of elders disciples, made the following statement: "Those who hear my talk today can be happy right now, this very instant, but those who do not will but those who do not will never be able to be happy."
Wow, that's straight from the mouth of a con man. You are not telling me you fell for that, are you?
What is happiness to human beings? uh, this is a subject that has been one of the consistent threads of philosophy since ancient times. I had always regarded psychology as nothing more than a field of philosophy, and as such had very little interest in psychology as a whole. So it was a student of philosophy that I had concerned myself in my own way with the question, what is happiness? I would be remiss if I did not admit to having felt some reluctance on hearing Christensen's words. However, at the same time that I experienced that reluctance, I realized something. I had given much deep thought to the true character of happiness. I had searched for answers, but I had not always given deep thought to the question, how can one be happy? It occurred to me that It occurred to me then that even though I was a student of philosophy, maybe I was not happy.
I see. So your first encounter with Adlerian psychology began with a feeling of incongruity.
That's right.
Then please tell me, did you eventually become happy?
Of course.
How can you be so sure?
For a human being, the greatest unhappiness is not being able to like oneself. Adler come up with an extremely simple answer to address this reality, namely that the feeling of I am beneficial to the community or I am of use to someone is the only thing that can give one a true awareness that one has worth.
Do you mean the contribution to others you mentioned earlier?
Yes, and this is an important point. When you speak of contribution to others, it does not matter if the contribution is not a visible one.
It doesn't matter if the contribution is not a visible one.
You are not the one who decides if your contribution are of use. That is the task of other people and is not an issue in which you can intervene. In principle, there is not even any way you can know whether you have really made a contribution. That is to say, when we are engaging in this contribution to others, the contribution does not have to be a visible one. All we need is the subjective sense that I am of use to someone, or in other words, a feeling of contribution.
Wait a minute. If that is the case, then what you are calling happiness is?
Do you see it now? In a word, happiness is the feeling of contribution. That is the definition of happiness.
But that is,
Mm,
yes, yes, Manishi.
sorry. Which line?
Is
Sorry, I missed
is
that.
something wrong? Top line.
Okay, is something wrong?
There is no way I can accept such a simplistic definition. Look, I am not forgetting what you told me before. You said that even though on the level of acts, one might not be of use to anyone, on the level of being, every person is of use. But if that is the case, according to your logic, all human beings would be happy.
All human beings can be happy, but it must be understood that this does not mean all human beings are happy, whether it is on the level of acts or on the level of being. One needs to feel that one is of use to someone. That is to say, one needs a feeling of contribution.
So you are saying that the reason I am not happy is that I don't have a feeling of contribution.
That is correct.
Then how can I get a feeling of contribution? By working through volunteer activities?
Earlier, we were talking about desire for recognition. In response to my statement that one must not seek recognition, you said that desire for recognition is a universal desire.
Yes, I did. But honestly, I am still not entirely certain about this point.
Can you scroll down, Mansi? But I am sure, but I am sure that the reason people seek recognition is clear to you now. People want to like themselves. They want to feel that they have worth. In order to feel that, they want a feeling of contribution that tells them I am of use to someone. And they seek recognition from others as an easy way means for gaining that feeling of contribution.
You are saying that desire for recognition is a means for gaining a feeling of contribution.
Is not it so?
No way. That contradicts everything you have been saying until now. Because because isn't receiving recognition from others supposed to be a means for gaining a feeling of contribution? And then you say happiness is the feeling of contribution. If it is, then fulfilling one's desire for recognition is directly linked with happiness, isn't it? Haha, at last you have acknowledged the necessity of the desire for recognition.
You are forgetting an important issue. If one's means for getting a feeling of contribution turns out to be being recognized by others, in the long run, one will have no choice but to walk through life in accordance with other people's wishes. There is no freedom in a feeling of contribution that is gained through the desire for recognition. We are beings who choose freedom while aspiring to happiness. Mansi, scroll down.
So one can have happiness only if one has freedom.
Yes, freedom as an institution may differ depending on the country, the times, or the culture, but freedom in our interpersonal relations is universal.
There is no way that you will acknowledge the desire for recognition.
If one really has a feeling of contribution, one will no longer have any need for recognition from others because one will already have the real awareness that I am of use to someone without needing to go out of one's way to be acknowledged by others. In other words, a person who is obsessed with the desire for recognition does not have any community feeling yet and has not managed to engage in self acceptance, confidence in others, or contribution to others.
So if one just has community feeling, the desire for recognition will disappear.
Yes, it will disappear. There is no need for recognition from others.
The philosopher's points could be summed up as follows. People can be truly aware of their worth only when they are able to feel, I am of use to someone. However, it doesn't matter if the contribution one makes at such a time is without any visible form. It is enough to have the subjective sense of being of use to someone, that is to say, a feeling of contribution. And then the philosopher arrives at the following conclusion: happiness is the feeling of contribution. There certainly seemed to be aspects of the truth there. Is that really all that happiness is? Not if it is the happiness I am searching for. Mansi, scroll up, please. Two paths traveled by those wanting to be special beings. Youth, you still have not answered my question. Maybe I could actually learn to like myself through contribution to others. Maybe I could come to feel that I have worth, that I am not a worthless being. But is that all a person needs to be happy? Having come into this world, I think that unless I am able to accomplish the sort of grand undertaking that future generation will remember me for, unless I can prove myself as I, who am no one else but me, I will never find true happiness. You are trying to frame everything within interpersonal relations without saying a thing about self realizing happiness. If you ask me, that is nothing but evasion.
I'm not really sure what you mean by self realizing happiness. What exactly are you referring to?
It is something that is different for each person. I suppose there are those who want to succeed in society and those who have more personal objectives. A researcher endeavoring to develop a wonder drug, for instance, or an artist who strives to create a satisfying body of work.
What is it? What is it for you?
I still don't really know what I am looking for or what I'll want to do in the future, but I know that I have got to do something. There is no way I am going to spend the rest of my days working in a university library. When I find a dream that I can devote myself to and I attain self realization, that is when I'll experience true happiness. My father was someone who buried himself in his work from day to night, and I have no idea if that was happiness to him or not. To my eyes, at least, He seemed forever busy and never happy. That is not the kind of life I want to lead.
All right. If you think about this point, using children who engage in problem behavior as an example, it might be easier to grasp.
Problem behavior?
That's right. First of all, we human beings have a universal desire that is referred to as pursuit of superiority. Do you recall our discussion of this?
Yes, simply put, it is a term that indicates hoping to improve or pursuing an ideal state.
There are many children who in their earlier stages try to be especially good. In particular, they obey their parents. What is this? Comport, comfort themselves in a socially acceptable manner, apply themselves assiduously to their studies and in sports, and excel in extracurricular activities as well. In this way, they try to get their parents to acknowledge them. However, when being especially good does not work out, their studies or sports does not go well. For example, they do an about face and try to be especially bad.
Why do they do that?
Whether they are trying to be especially good or trying to be especially bad, the goal is the same: to attract the attention of other people, get out of the normal condition, and become a special being. That that is their only goal.
All right, please go on.
In any case, whether it is one's studies or one's uh, participation in sports, either way, one needs to make a constant effort if one is to produce any kind of significant results. But the children who try to be especially bad, that is to say, the ones who engage in problem behavior, are endeavoring to attract the attention of other people even as they continue to avoid any such healthy effort. In Adlerian psychology, that is referred to as the pursuit of easy superiority. Take, for example, the problem child who disrupts lessons by throwing erasers or speaking in a loud voice. He is certain to get the attention of his friends and teachers, even if it is something that is limited to that place. He will probably succeed in becoming a special being, but that is a pursuit of easy superiority and is an unhealthy attitude.
So, children who commit delinquent acts are engaging in the pursuit of easy superiority too.
Yes, they are. All types of problem behavior, from refusing to attend school to wrist wrist cutting to underage drinking and smoking and so on, are forms of the pursuit of easy superiority. And your shut-in friend, whom you told me about at the beginning, is engaging in it too. When a child engages in problem behavior, his parents and other adults rebuke him. Being rebuked, more than anything else, adds stress on the child. But even if it is in the form of rebuke, the child wants his parents' attention. He wants to be a special being, and the form that attention takes does not matter. So, so in a sense, it is only natural that he does not stop. Mansi, can you scroll up? So, in a sense, it is only natural that he does not stop engaging in problem behavior, no matter how harshly he is rebuked.
I have read too.
Yeah,
From where? But previous?
the first one, youth, the first line, first one.
Okay. It is because of their rebuking that he doesn't stop the problem behavior.
Exactly, because the parents and other adults are giving him attention through the act of rebuking.
But previously, you spoke of the goal of problem behavior as being revenge on the parents, right? Does that connect with this in some way?
Yes, revenge and pursuit of easy superiority are easily linked. One makes trouble for another person while trying at the same time to be special.
Mansi, scroll up. The courage to be normal. Youth. But how? It would be impossible for all human beings to be specially good or anything like that, wouldn't it? No matter what, people have their strengths and weaknesses, and there will always be differences. There is only a handful of geniuses in the world, and not everyone is cut out to be an honor student. So, for all the losers, there is nothing for it besides being especially bad.
Yes, it is that Socratic paradox that no one desires evil, because to children who engage in problem behavior, even violent acts and theft are accomplishments of good.
But that is horrible. That is a line of reasoning with no way out.
When Adrian psychology emphasizes at this juncture are the words, the courage to be normal.
The courage to be normal.
Why is it necessary to be special? Probably because one cannot accept one's normal self. And it is precisely for this reason that when being especially good becomes a lost cause, one makes the huge leap to being especially bad, the opposite extreme. But is being normal, being ordinary, really such a bad thing? Is it something inferior? or in uh, or in truth, isn't everybody normal? It is necessary to think this through to its logical conclusion.
So, are you saying that I should be normal?
Self acceptance is the vital first step. If you are able to possess the courage to be normal, your way of looking at the world will change dramatically.
But
You're probably rejecting normality because you equate being normal with being incapable. Being normal is not being incapable. One does not need to flaunt one's superiority.
fine, I acknowledge the danger of aiming to be special. But does one really need to make the deliberate choice of to be normal? If I pass my time in this world in an utterly humdrum way, if I lead a pointless life without leaving any record or memory of my existence whatsoever, am I to just be satisfied with my lot because that is the sort of human being I am? You have got to be joking. I'd abandon such a life in a second.
You you want to be special no matter what?
No, look, accepting what you call normal would lead to me having to affirm my idle self. It would just be saying, this is all I am capable of, and that is fine. I refuse to accept such an idle way of life. Do you think that Napoleon or Alexander the Great or Einstein or Martin Luther King accepted normal? And how about Socrates and Plato? Not a chance. More than likely, they all lived their lives while carrying the torch of a great ideal or objective. Another Napoleon could never emerge with your line of reasoning. You are trying to rid the world of geniuses.
So what you are saying in that so what you are saying is that one needs lofty goals in life.
But that is obvious.
The courage to be normal, what truly dreadful words. Or Adler and this philosopher really telling me to choose. Someone, can you read it,
Yeah,
please?
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, 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 sure. The courage to be normal. What truly dreadful words are Adler and this philosopher really telling me to choose such a path to go about my life as just another soul among the utterly ordinary, faceless masses? I am no genius, of course, Maybe normal is the only choice I have. Maybe I will just have to accept my mediocre self and surrender to leading a mediocre everyday existence. But I will fight it. Whatever happens, I will oppose this man to the bitter end. We seem to be approaching the heart of our discussion. The young man's pulse was racing, and despite the wintry chill in the air, he clenched fists shone with sweat.
So somebody want to take? I'm having a bit bad throat today.
No, I'm just thinking, shall we stop here? Like just let me see how much is left. I think there are two, three more topics maybe. We can just finish it tomorrow and we can open up for discussion.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, five more topics. Shall we keep it for tomorrow? What do you
Yes,
think?
yes.
So, and I think it's a good point that we will stop now. So it's good that we start with that tomorrow. So yeah, we can open up for discussion now. Yeah, life is a series of moments. Nice point, right? Like I really uh the last part that we read. I'll stop the share. Okay, yeah. We are all open for discussion. Anything anyone would like to say from today's reading?
One example that related very well, that while we are doing home chores, like the dishwashing example was given, that many times ladies go on working morning to night, and what feeling they are having in their mind that others should give thanks to them or come to contribute. So here the relation of self acceptance, self contribution, how you can contribute to others, and confidence in others was very well related. This can be seen in daily activities from home to home. So it was very truly said that while doing the chores, we must have the feeling that we are worth, that we are contributing to others, and have confidence in others. Maybe that vibe can have an impact upon the persons who are surrounded by us. Yeah,
Yes, I truly agree. That was such a day-to-day life wonderful example, right? It
yeah,
was very connecting, and I feel every lady has gone through it at some point. So I
yeah,
could relate with it. Yeah, very much true. Like it happens in many places, like in work, in household chores or whatever. When we feel like मुझे तो ऐसे लगता है ना कि sometimes this is like a disease. Like why should I only do this? Why should I only do all of this? It's like with everything, with your in-laws, with housework, with responsibilities. Many people, I feel, struggle through this one thought. It's a very common feeling, I feel. But yeah,
yeah. And the philosopher was
very
saying that
common.
if you are humming and enjoying that activities, others in that case may come and help you.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and I feel you are doing it without expectation, right? Like at that point of time when
Yes,
you're not expecting anything. But
yeah,
if you
true.
are doing it out of this thing, I think it comes from a different energy altogether. Where you're doing it out of compulsion or obligation, and then you're not really enjoying that activity as such. Yeah, very true, very well said. Thank you for that, for bringing that up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyone else? Anything you want to share? Any point?
Yeah, what I want to mention is that, the author mentioned that we should see other people as our comrades, not like enemies, competitors, or let's say, like the author mentioned example, right? The lady was like everybody finished the dinner, and all went to their own watching TV, or kids went to the rooms, and the lady thinking positive and not like expecting people to help. She continued with her daily chores of the kitchen, and that way she was creating a environment of uh, creating a positive environment, and not like really leaving the dishes just like that, and she went on to clean the kitchen, and wanted to make it proper, so that the people the people in the family can see that okay, she's doing her work very sincerely and very responsibly. So that creates atmosphere of belongingness in the family, and other people will be encouraged to help her in so many different ways. So it's all about creating a community feeling, a family feeling, and not just think of everybody like your comrade, your companion, and just like the family working together in so many different ways, but the purpose is to have a good family time, right? So maybe the people are busy in different ways, but if a person sees that okay, let me do my work the way like I feel it right to be done, and that way the other person will also feel the same way, and they will support each other in different ways. So that is one thing. So see people in your family, in the society, as comrades, not like in other way like competitors or something like that, any in the society enemies. So it's all about the energy that you create around you. If you it's just like nothing cost to smile. So if you smile, and most likely other person will also smile, maybe not in the beginning, but down the line he will also smile, maybe not not enough as you, but it will create a good atmosphere. So that is one point, and the second point is that uh, one more thing is like every person like passion or pursuit is different, right? So everybody want to be successful in his own way. So it's nothing that okay, as yesterday also we read, right, that Jim Carrey said that everybody should be rich and famous, and then to realize that that is not the only, that is not the thing to be felt happy. So if I'm confident on myself, and if I'm doing everything in a very conscious way, and doing my best, so that is the way to be happy, and that's how you contribute to the society and the people around you. So everybody has their own level of doing things. So no, it's just like everybody is equal, but they are not same. So everybody is happy in their own way, and there is no comparison with others. It's all about that you are thinking in your mind to contribute to others, doing your best. So that is another point. And the third point was that about the kids, that you know the uh, the kids wanted to be shown superior by doing good or bad deeds and things like that. So that Mansi, I didn't get that perspective. You know,
Actually, it was that while in childhood we praise the children, so they become attention seekers. That praise become attention for them, and when they grow young, at that time, if they are not able to seek that attention, then they seek attention in a bad way. There, it is a problem behavior. That is a cause of seeking attention only. I think that was the thing.
Yes, yes. It is basically like how in NLP also they tell that like it said that every intention, every action has a positive intention. So basically, like in general, like whatever a behavior, good or bad, It is basically so that, for example, if someone is behaving bad, uh, but they're still getting some acknowledgement, they're getting some attention of the parent. I think in this book only somewhere I think he's mentioned right earlier that how the some attention related example was there, right? If anyone can remember.
Yes,
Uh,
it was the given of the kid that who sought attention by praise in the childhood stage when he grew young. At that time, he seeks the his behavior becomes bad
uh-huh.
because
No,
yeah.
No,
I
that was
just, I,
today, na? I'm asking like earlier about our earlier reading. Like, okay, but the idea is basically in some way or the other you want to be seen, right? Everyone wants to be seen. So if a
yeah,
child
no,
is not, so that's what is been mentioned. Like it's just an indirect behavior, and
because
it's a beautiful. Sorry, yeah.
no, go ahead, Mansi, go ahead, please. Yeah.
No, even in Tony Robbins, there is one wonderful video where he shares that there are the six things that we need as individuals, which I don't remember them all, but there are this one is certainty, one is uncertainty, one is attention. So there are few things like some six things that we need in life to be like basically to so we seek them either in a positive way or in a negative way. So for example, and he's got a deeper work on that where he says that like for example emotional eating also like so if you go to the root of a problem, you get to know why you are doing this. So similarly, the example in today's this thing, it was like basically the child wanted to be seen. Child want the parent to pay attention, as Suman explained. That is why either from a positive way or a negative way, the child does that behavior. तो वो होता है ना बच्चे लाइक दीगिरी करते या कुछ करते तो वो उसके लिए भी होता है. So
Yeah, wrist
if you
cutting,
if you can give
smoking,
that.
drinking, all were these
Yeah,
related
if you can give
examples.
them in a positive way, if so basically the idea is like when we really work on such problems, the thing is that if you find the root cause of that behavior, and if you can get to the root cause of that behavior, you can turn it into a positive thing, and how you can get that thing in a positive way rather than getting it from a negative way. That's how you bring about the shift. So that's what he was talking about. So yeah, and since I'm talking, I'll just add my takeaway. So for me personally, you all covered it all very beautifully. It's almost summarized. And this one point which we stopped at today, that was like very mind blowing for me. So it was like the courage to be normal. So I feel sometimes it's so hyped up about being extraordinary and things like that that we really forget the small things, that we forget the real meaning of life and we don't live fully. And we are so obsessed by being extraordinary and different that we self-sabotage ourselves, and we don't really uh, cherish our existence and things like that. So I think that is very important because this I always wonder this also कि ऐसे तो नहीं हो सकता ना कि सबका like we also say that कि you should have a purpose and you should live by your purpose and all of that. But what about all the people in the world? Everyone is not doing and living something extraordinary. Some people just serve their family and then they do some small things and then they're gone. So it doesn't mean that they had no purpose in life, right? No, there is also this thing that God has not created anyone by a mistake. So every life has a purpose. Every smallest existence has a purpose. So it's just about being and enjoying that beingness. So I think he covers that somewhere. Maybe in tomorrow's reading we'll cover that. But I think we need to strike the right balance because sometimes we just miss out all the real joys of life in this obsession of becoming something or becoming something better and bigger and all of that. So yeah, that was one of the very different perspectives that was shared. And I loved how the youth challenges him at every this thing, because it's like he's talking, he reads ahead. Because हमें भी तो ऐसे ही लगता है ना कि अरे फिर should we be living mediocre, ऐसे भी नहीं हो सकता. So that was nice. I love that part. Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to add? Viren,
Yeah,
you want to
Yeah.
share something?
good morning to
Yeah,
all.
hi.
This is Pranavi here.
Hi, Pranavi. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Mansi, even when I was listening to the conversation, you need to really have a strong courage to be normal. I don't know, during my parents' time, this was not a big concept, but then, I mean, the society I'm staying in or the community I'm here is like most of them, they try to flaunt so many things which are not exactly real as well. So in that words, at times I myself am just losing myself and trying to give a tough competition to them, which is actually not my nature, because they it's absolutely okay if they try to flaunt from their side, but then they flaunt and they stoop the other person who is around, uh, which is really bad. But then again, when I try to listen to this kind of words, again I'll get back rooted to myself. I get the feeling of that grounding again. No, what I'm doing is right. You need to have really that particular courage to be as normal as possible. So I love that sentence, in fact. And though the execution is tough, there is a strong impact behind it. So after listening to this again, I started working on this rule. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, very true. And in fact, Pranavi, I think it happens a lot with parents, maybe, because it comes from their own needs and desires. And I think they are projected upon the children. And I think children are also burdened by these expectations, right? To be
Maybe that,
extraordinary.
maybe what
Yeah.
that would be one of the reason, but the other reason is it's basically from the culture you're brought in. If you're like already, born rich with certain values and certain ethics and all, um, that would be fine. But suddenly, people over here, if they become rich suddenly, all of a sudden, they try to flaunt so many things which are not real. So, if we are grounded right from the culture we are bought in and all, no, it will be easy. Otherwise, facing this kind of people is it's not very tough, but then you need to be very mindful that they don't sabotage us with their particular flaunting things or whatever. So yes, you are right.
So in this book itself, na, like I don't know if you have read this book, but I would highly recommend, because it's very deep and it's very direct, and as Viren says, it's a dangerous book. It
Yes,
makes you think so differently
yes, yes,
and accept certain things like on your face. So it's very different. It's very courageous of the author to write it, and even for us to read it as a reader. So in that also, na, it said that normally somewhere in the earlier chapters he mentioned that when someone wants to project someone as ourselves as superior above someone else, it is basically the ideal feeling beneath is inferiority. So it's like when someone feels inferior enough, that is when they want to hide it and they want to project as superiors. So what you're talking
yes,
about flaunting and all comes somewhere from that feeling of insecurity. And you said like maybe someone who's just become suddenly rich. So maybe they always know
yes,
that, right?
yes,
Like, oh, we cannot like beat these people who are maybe generationally rich, or
yes.
they have been there in this game for a longer period of time. So they
True,
try to
true.
do that by flaunting some other things, like
Yes,
maybe that's
yes, yes,
so
yes. That is true.
it comes from that. Yeah.
Ah,
So since the time I understood this concept, I actually understood this concept very early when I was actually studying some psychology things about superiority. Since that time, I always like when someone is trying to be extraordinarily pushing someone down, or trying to do that, I somewhere I understand ki, okay, this person is insecure, this person is taking an extra effort to make someone like this because somewhere they want to be in that place or something like that. Like it's comes from place of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
jealousy or
But then
insecurity or things
once
like
if
that.
you're
Yeah.
yeah, if you're into that loop, it's really tough to get out of it. But then if you go for some kind of mindfulness or something, it works out, Mansi.
Because it's there like as they say, queens raise queens, something like that, right? Like
Yes,
where they
yes,
show like actually people who are really very well settled in within themselves, they will not show anyone down. They will not discourage anyone. They will not put anyone down. In fact, they will raise them up. They will help them up, not from. And even I feel there is a layer to this, that some people they want to raise someone up to show how good they are, and they want to be complimented for it. So they want that
yes,
they want to get that credibility. You see, I made this person, I helped this person progress, or I help this person become whoever they are. I have a big contribution in that. So even the author talks about that also. So I think coming from a very selfless perspective, where yes, from as we read before, from a perspective of equality, like okay, so I we did it because we can. That person will not want to boast about it. They will just
yes,
do it for the sake of real concern and
yes,
real. I think with that kind of attitude, it makes a lot of difference. So,
yes,
and
yes,
and I feel it's very rare in today's world, because even if someone, so they call this thing, right, like about frenemies or something like that. So where they say that, so these are the friends who will be very happy for you only up to the point when you are not doing something and being recognized, or doing something better than them. At the
yes,
point when you feel that at the point when they feel ki, oh, you are doing better, like you are being seen more, or you are being getting more recognition or whatever, before like ऐसे होता है ना कि like जैसे for example, there is a scholar friend in your school, and that friend will be always boasting you about your marks or something, ki, encouraging you to do better. But the point when you actually do better, that friend will not feel good about it, and he will start
exactly.
showing you your flaws and showing how you could have never done it without him or her, or how you could how you should be complimenting them for supporting you, or somewhere beneath they do not feel good about it actually. So
Exactly.
they can only feel good about you till the point you are inferior to them or equal to them. So I
True.
think that also they will never be happy in your success as such.
Yeah, and
So
I feel that we have got such a clarity. Now that my daughter is also staying outside and she stays in Bangalore. So it's like when I'm working on myself, I'm able to give that clear message even to my daughter also, Mansi. So they're very young to this
yeah.
kind of concepts, right? So
Yeah, and they
yeah,
will, and however, how much ever you teach and share with them, na, there will be always something that they will only learn through their own experiences.
yeah. But then if you give subtle suggestions, no, Mansi, instead of taking 10 times stress, they're at least, I mean, it's been getting down to 2 times or 3 times.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah.
it's, yeah,
Very true. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anything
Yeah,
else anyone wants to share, bring up?
the point the author mentioned was that if one is confident about himself, about his work, and then you don't have to show it to boast it to someone, or seek external validation. So if you are confident about yourself, that's what matters. That's it. That's the author. He was trying to make that point. So
Yes,
if I,
That
yes,
is
very
nothing
true.
but indirectly, it's again question of courage. You should have that courage to face everything. I mean, every soul is not blessed in that sense. So,
So yeah,
yeah.
very true. Yeah. Viren, you want to add something? You're very silent today. Anything you would like to add?
No, no, I think you all have covered all the things. I was
What
on
is your
listening mode today.
takeaway, biggest takeaway today?
yeah, but still you need to speak something. When
Nothing for today.
okay,
Okay. Okay, he's introspecting.
See, actually, the bottom line is, the author mentioned that, everybody, like all people are equal, but they are not same. So everybody's passion, interest, journey is different. And as long as you are confident and about yourself, and you are happy, and you are uh, doing your work the way you want it to, so that's all matters. You don't need a validation from other people. You don't have to compare your success with other people's success. So it's all about, some people, nobody is perfect. So some people may not like you. So you should have, one should have that courage that, okay, it's okay to be disliked by few people who have different thoughts about uh, like the matter. So I think that's what the author is trying to make a point.
Yeah,
Great. Can you
very
guys hear me? Am I audible?
yeah, go on, go on. Yeah. Yes, Pinaki, she said.
Two things which I picked up. One is the triple C formula. Triple C formula is actually very amazing, and I'm applying it with the children with whom I'm working in the school. Confidence, courage, and capability. These three are linked just in the reverse order. If you really want to become confident about something, figure out what capabilities you need to build. Once you have the capabilities, the courage will happen automatically. It will come to you automatically, because many of the times courage doesn't come to us because we are not capable enough. I'm saying capable enough, not just capable. We are not capable enough to become courageous to take the next step. So this is something I also practice a lot, and I found it very, very effective. Being capable followed by being courageous, and then confidence will be an automatic outcome. You really do not need to work for it. This one. And second thing which I picked up today is, being normal is being extraordinary nowadays. Ordinary people are not normal. So when you are focusing becoming normal, you are actually giving your gift of becoming extraordinary. So that's it from my side.
Yeah, very well said. Yes, I do agree. Uh, because I feel that authenticity is missing in today's world, right? So yeah, if we consider authenticity as normal, then yes, from my perspective. But yes, very well said. Yeah, I do agree. Because in today's social media world and everything, everyone feels and wants to show that they are extraordinary. And yes, nice point. And I love that three C's formula. So yeah, thank you. Anyone, Rajesh, you want to add something? I think he's the only one who's not spoken, but I think we're done. Otherwise. Okay, I think I love the discussion of today because it covered all the points which sometimes we miss out on. We just emphasize on a few points. But today I think we covered almost everything that we read today. So that was wonderful. That's how ideally it should be. So yeah, thank you everyone for
Thank
yeah,
you.
Viren. Okay, yeah.
Thank
I
you.
thought you want to share some. Okay, yeah. Thank you. We will be finishing with the book tomorrow. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you. Bye bye. See you all.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Have a great day. Bye bye. See you all.